Hello and welcome to Community Partnerships Helping Everyone Learn Prevention, a series designed to help inform, educate, and prevent abuse of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and related consequences, such as interpersonal violence. In this segment, we'll discuss a topic that can often be confusing for coalitions to approach: advocacy. Not understanding the differences between advocacy, lobbying, as well as funding restrictions related to lobbying can be intimidating. In this video, we will explore these issues and share examples of advocacy strategies that coalitions can implement. So let's get started. Advocacy is a powerful tool that can help coalitions shape local, state, and federal environments. There may be restrictions to what and how information is presented by a coalition due to many factors. It is important to be aware of your liberties as a coalition, as well as the restrictions connected to receiving most grants, state, and federal funding for prevention work. The information in this video is largely taken directly from an education and advocacy clinic hosted by Sue Thaw, the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America's public policy consultant. We will focus on 3 areas in the context of this video: education, advocacy, and lobbying. The first is education, which involves sharing data and information. As a coalition, it is perfectly acceptable for you to share information about who you are, what you do, the issues and data impacting your community, and what you are going to do to address these issues, as well as your successes and outcomes. Examples of how you can educate might include offering printed materials with local data or information about your coalition's efforts. Education can be provided to any segment of the community with no restrictions, including to the general public and legislators. The second area is advocacy, which involves actively raising awareness about an issue and what can be done to generally address it. As a coalition, you can advocate about the impacts of specific drugs and specific strategies, including conducting public education campaigns and encouraging enhanced enforcement of existing laws. Here is an example of advocating by sharing the impact of a specific drug. A National Institute on Drug Abuse funded study shows that early, persistent use of marijuana can cause a permanent drop in IQ of up to 8 points. A loss of 8 IQ points could drop a person of average intelligence into the lowest third of the intelligence range. Here is an example of advocating by sharing the impact of specific strategies. The legalization of marijuana could create a big marijuana industry similar to big tobacco, which could increase the availability of marijuana to youth. Our third focus area is lobbying, which involves taking a specific position on a specific piece of legislation, ballot measure, or initiative. Essentially, if it has a legislative bill number associated with it, making comments about it that include words like support, oppose, object, pass, vote no, vote yes, vote for, and vote against is considered lobbying. In most cases, coalitions are not allowed to use grant or other state or federal funding to lobby. Here is an example of lobbying. Community members need to oppose Senate Bill 334 if we want to prevent the legalization of recreational marijuana use in this community. Generally speaking, for coalitions that receive grants, state, or federal dollars for their prevention efforts, education and advocacy is the proper way to share information with elected officials and your community. Next, Steve will discuss how funding to Missouri coalitions can or cannot be used related to education, advocacy, and lobbying.
Thanks, Erica. If you are a registered coalition with the Missouri Division of Behavioral Health, you have access to many grants, regional development, and technical assistance and training funds to assist in your prevention work. You may not utilize these funds to lobby in any way. You may use the funds to educate and advocate about the impacts of specific drugs or specific strategies, but may not identify a specific bill, ballot measure, or initiative. If your coalition raises unrestricted dollars, which are non-state, non-federal, non-match, and not restricted from lobbying by the grantor, then those dollars could potentially be used to lobby. However, there are specific procedures to follow in those instances. If you are interested in more information on this topic, CATCA has some great information at the web address on your screen. Please remember that this information is based on federal tax law. Your organization or fiscal agent may have other policies or requirements. Additionally, a coalition member acting as a private citizen can lobby and take positions on legislation as long as no federal or state funds are used and as long as they are not doing so as a representative of the coalition. As mentioned earlier, it is entirely possible to educate and advocate without lobbying. Here are some examples of statements to help you distinguish between advocacy and lobbying. A lobbying statement might be, "We oppose legislation to legalize marijuana in our state." An advocacy statement might be, "After marijuana was legalized in Colorado, drug-related suspensions and expulsions from school increased 32% from school years 2008 through 2013. The vast majority of these were for marijuana violations. We don't want that consequence to occur in Missouri." Another example of lobbying could be, "The coalition supports any legislation that increases taxes on alcohol to dissuade youth from purchasing alcohol." An advocacy statement might be, "Research shows that tax dollars on alcohol sales reduce the likelihood of youth purchasing alcohol." Now that you are more informed about education, advocacy, and lobbying, Erica will conclude with a discussion on ideas on how your coalition can advocate.
Thanks, Steve. Here at Community Partnership, we desire to educate the regional coalitions on advocacy in their community, at the state, or at the federal level. The following strategies have been shown to effectively create change in our nation. As a coalition, you can share data and information about the impacts of specific drugs or strategies. You can provide general public education to raise awareness about issues and the risks and harms of use. You can partner with local media outlets to share your data and information. You can provide educational workshops for various groups like parents, teachers, or medical professionals to ensure that your community is informed. You can host focus groups of youth or parents to gain insight into local mindsets, opinions, and perspectives on issues. You can host a community forum to educate individuals about the issues affecting your community. You can print materials with educational data and information to distribute at local events and to community leaders and legislators. These are only a few of strategies that can help your coalition advocate on the issues you are concerned about. For more information or further ideas, contact your coalition's prevention specialist. Thank you for watching Helping Everyone Learn Prevention, an alcohol, drug, and violence prevention series developed by your Regional Support Center, Community Partnership of the Ozarks. If you'd like to know more about how this program or other substance abuse and violence prevention efforts, contact us at 417-888-2020 or visit the web address on your screen.